Dr Blair Hunt, a Doctor of Business Administration, is a non-smoker, but says he accepts a person's right to light a cigarette. The Tobacco Institute, in a recent survey of 3,300 people, found that 96% of smokers and 83% of non-smokers from that group agreed they should respect each other's rights. Dr Hunt says the council is playing with a political issue which could well backfire on them.
That's how you've got to go. You cannot simply step in and heavy-handedly, Big Brother style, say ban. It's gone. It's finished for those people.
Alderman Don Geddes, instigator of the ban, says he is not surprised by Dr Blair's comments, as he has an axe to grind as a paid employee of the tobacco industry. Alderman Geddes says the proposed ban has had a good response in Newcastle, nationally and overseas. Dr Hunt denies feeling threatened by the proposal, despite the fact that Team 3 came from the Institute today to look into the issue.
Clearly we need to be appraised of what's going on, what's happening in this matter, and that's precisely what we're doing. We're not up here beating any drums, we're simply trying to find out what's going on and trying to add a little bit of balance and sense to what I think is a very ill-conceived move on the part of Newcastle City Council.
Only 30% of the population smokes, and with medical evidence from the National Health and Medical Research Council showing passive smokers also face some of the health risks of smokers, the lobbying for segregated eateries is growing. The Tobacco Institute accepts this may be the way to go, using ventilation and partitions to keep the air clean. Peter Ryan reporting for NBN News.
In 1989, the time-honoured words "I love you" no longer come cheap. Newcastle Florists report that the tremendous demand today for love's traditional symbol have pushed up the prices of these sweet-smelling blooms.
The demand for roses for Valentine's Day is so high that the prices just really soar up. And a lot of people coming in for roses just for Valentine's Day, they think, you know, that they have this price all year round, which is not true.
But nevertheless, florists throughout Newcastle have been kept busy delivering these gifts of love. The rose farm at Port Stephen said business had trebled on last year. By this afternoon, they had sold out their famous flowers. The origins of St Valentine's Day are shrouded in mystery. There was nothing romantic about two celebrated martyrs of that name who both died on February the 14th. The link with love began with a belief in the Middle Ages that birds began to mate on February the 14th, and from then on the day has been dedicated to lovers. And today the age of romance was very much alive, and age was no barrier. Cupid showed her face at Bull's End's Hostel for the Aged, Woodlands, where residents enjoyed a Valentine's wedding breakfast to honour their two married couples, who between them celebrate 95 years of marriage. So the hearts of the commercial world fluttered, with extra sales of chocolates, champagne and even exotic underwear, many Novocastrians sealed their love simply with a kiss.
Tomorrow, the Cessnock Council outdoor workers' strike goes into its 14th day. For the past fortnight, many Cessnock district residents have been without garbage and sanitary services. Gardens, parks and roads have also been unattended. Cessnock Mayor Alderman Marie Callaghan says increased policing of sick leave was agreed to by the Municipal Employees Union in return for a 4% second-tier wage rise. And as council is required to enforce stricter sick leave rules, it can't back down.
The union executive and council and the general secretary of the MEU came to an agreement after a series of talks that we would be allowed to counsel employees and issue letters where they had taken too much time off. That was an agreement. However, when the employees received their 4%, the union officials informed us that they would not be party to that agreement any longer.
Today, Council issued a letter to striking employees telling them work is available and Council will negotiate a new industrial agreement. Tonight, Council will discuss the employees' job
Council will meet
prospects.
tonight. I will be asking Council to defer suspension of the men, bearing in mind the vote this morning was very close. It was only 16 votes separating a return to work as against indefinite strike.
The Mayor says the dispute has been made worse by outside influences and says member for Cessnock Bob Roberts is one.
Unfortunately, with some of his comments, he has thrown petrol on the fire and inflamed it terrifically. We're asking Mr Roberts to stay out of our industrial relations matters, and we'll stay out of his state's matters.
Meanwhile, Municipal Employees Union executives maintain the council has attacked its industrial agreement and no new agreement was reached. Cessnock Branch Union President Ray Matthews says some members can't always afford to go to the doctor to get medical certificates as required. He condemns the council letter asking outdoors workers to report to work at 7 o'clock tomorrow.
They're asking fellas to go up there and be scabs.
Do you believe that 55 of the people who voted against staying out on strike might go back to work?
I don't know, I've got no idea. But this is a move by the council to split the men.
What happens if people do lose their jobs?
I would not know. I would not know. But I can't see the jobs being filled. If we're sacked in a town like Cessnock, I can't see the people putting up with it and putting scab labour in there.
Mainly because
Newcastle Police District Commander Russ Cook launched Operation Phone In at a press conference this morning. He says similar operations in cities and towns across the state have achieved good results, leading to a variety of criminal investigations. Police want information on everything from car theft to underage drinking, but publicity for the long-standing anti-drugs phone-in Operation Noah will mean a high ratio of reported drug offences.
The experience has been that drug matters have received a better response, mainly because I think that's something that's uppermost in the community's mind. But other matters such as underage drinking, sexual and physical abuse of children, and car stealing, of course, and a lot of other criminal matters within the community really affect the people here in Newcastle.
The police operations room has been set aside for the phone-in, which starts tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, continuing until 9 p.m. 10 phones will be staffed throughout the operation, and specialist police will be on standby for specific offences, especially reports of child sexual or physical abuse. The hotline number is 290 822. All information will be treated confidentially and callers are not required to leave their names. Police say lines are likely to be busy at peak times, but they ask callers to keep trying.
During a Cessnock City Council meeting last night, it was agreed a letter should be sent to striking workers outlining the course of events in the dispute so far. Cessnock Mayor Marie Callaghan believes some of the rank and file are unaware of the facts. She says some didn't know they could return to work prior to Monday without losing any pre-existing conditions. She says the strike is over increased policing of sick leave and now it's time for a cooling down period. On that point, member for Cessnock Bob Roberts agrees, but he says he's been approached by Cessnock district residents concerned about the continuing strike, and he says the council has lost faith in its own labour force.
The parties should get together, the men should go back to work, and they should be under the old industrial agreement. There should be a 1 month cooling off, and then the matter go before arbitration.
Operation Tasman Ruler is winding up after 3 days of war games. The annual exercise gives the Air Force and the Navy a chance to brush up their teamwork by joining forces to meet a mock threat from the air. These Hornets are about to engage an incoming enemy 90 miles out to sea, but whether they win or lose won't be decided out there. It's more likely to be decided right here. 3 Control and Reporting Unit is the nerve centre of the whole show. From here, teams of radar operators monitor the movements of guided missile destroyers Brisbane and Darwin and their fighter escort as they fend off attacks from a rival squadron. Group Captain Don McPherson is the Sector Defence Commander. This is his war game.
The people that work as air defence controllers have to have particular skills and aptitudes that allow them to envisage the three-dimensional picture that the fighter pilot will be in, and that's why we have systems such as this, so that we can provide the tactical awareness that the pilot needs before he enters the fight. The exercise itself develops its own demands and pressures. It's quite surprising, in fact, how realistic exercises like this are, and it does put people under pressure during the exercise period, including the pilots.
Heading 140, 12,000. ID 09. Pair, heading 14, 9,000. 076. Roger. Kill.
The club claims the distinction of being the oldest autonomous women's club in Australia. When District Association President Lola Higgins played the first bowl this morning, members reflected on the pioneering spirit of those earlier players who set it up in 1914. The club history records that the women were invited to a men's social roll-up and immediately decided to form their own club. Today's facilities are a far cry from the early days when members kept their bowls in old butter boxes in a shed on the grounds. Oldest member, 92-year-old Glad Bride, says it was all worth it.
Yes, on my word. Yes, and they're all a friendly lot of people.
Unlike the men's club next door, the women have never been able to fall back on bar or poker machine takings for revenue, and for many years prizes were modest, to say the least.
Oh, we sometimes used to all bring an orange, and we put all the oranges together, and the winners would take that. But there were no organised galas, and there was not a great deal of money around. You were ladies. You had to be a lady.
During the programme of 8 events, rough and tumble was the order of the day. Some people might call you a bit of a thrill seeker. Do you think you're a thrill seeker?
I'm more stupid than anything, I think.
But out of the dust, some big stars emerged. Meet star number 1, Peanuts. Less than 4 seconds on the back of this ball, a few quick spins, and that's the way it's been for the last 20 rides. Star number 2 was last year's winner of North Queensland's All-Round Championships, Mark Gibb. He made short work of this bucking bronc. Thirdly, international recognition for Greg Gibson from the Hunter's Scone. Winner of championships in Texas, Foothill and Canada during a world circuit last year, showed how he did Australia proud. And star number 4, NBN's Tracy Reid, came 5th in a strong field of 30 in the barrel races.
Well, not all competitors can win here tonight, but everyone has helped a little to win the battle against cancer, because part of all proceeds will go towards the NBN Telethon. Woody Lafitte for NBN News.
if the Hunter racing fraternity were worried that the state's richest 2-year-old race outside Sydney might be a washout tomorrow, they weren't showing it. Most gathered at the Master Builders Centre for the traditional Beaufort Club pre-race lunch. Today's rain puts the race in the running to be the wettest ever, and the guest speaker may well have been able to give the jockeys a few tips. He was marathon swimmer Des Redford, the first Australian to swim the English Channel. However, such drastic measures shouldn't be necessary. The Bureau expects the rain to clear tomorrow, and the NJC says there is no chance of the race being cancelled.
Broadmeadow has a reputation for being a very good wet weather track and can take a lot of rain. We haven't raced at Broadmeadow since the beginning of this month, so the course is in fine condition, but naturally we do want the weather to fine.
The Penfolds has been run since 1926 and is now one of the most prestigious 2-year-old races in the country. Every year it attracts several big-name horses, as the $87,500 first prize is usually enough to guarantee entry into the upcoming Golden Slipper. Newcastle Jockey Club manager Brian Judd says tomorrow's field is very strong.
Considering the opposition to draw the top horses for 2-year-old races leading into the Golden Slipper, we've drawn 2 of the best in Sanction and Momentaire, and a group of horses just under them, which are top class, so we're very pleased with the field that we've drawn.
And according to Gary Harley, Momentaire won't be slowed down by the wet conditions.
I just think she's too classy and too good. She's only got 52 kilos on her back. She's drawn barrier 3. Now, her usual jockey, Mick Dittman, will not be riding her. He was injured on Saturday, and Peter Cook will take the ride. She'll lose nothing at all there. Cook, to my mind, is probably the best jockey in Australia, and she'll get a lovely run in the race, 4th or 5th on the inside, and down the long run home, I think she'll just be far too strong.
And Gary Harley's trifecta, Momentaire, to lead in Sanction and Bollendale.
He's a highly promising colt. He's only had the 1 race start last.
Detective Sergeant Jeff Hodgson says a pattern for the robberies is emerging in the Hamilton, New Lambton and Adamstown areas, which suggests the work of a professional gang. On some occasions, 3 or 4 houses in the one street have been robbed, and the thieves are making a fortune from the sale of stolen equipment. Police say residents are making it too easy. Garage doors are left open throughout the day, allowing burglars to select what they want and return at night to collect. It's thought the gang is concentrating on backyard businesses and the home handyman.
It would appear that people who are involved in the building trade have been the victims in a number of these cases. So we urge these people, if they are in the building trade, they have trucks parked out the front of their house or signs indicating they are builders, to make sure those premises are securely locked.
Council tool sheds have been under constant threat over the past 8 months, and more than $30,000 worth of items have been stolen. Some equipment is recovered, but all too often owners haven't bothered to record a serial number or engrave an ID on the uncollected items. Detective Sergeant Hodgson says much of the booty is finding a ready market in local hotels, although buyers aren't aware that they face the same penalties as the thief.
Receivers are deemed to be suffer the same penalty as those people who actually commit the theft. They think that they're not as bad simply by buying it cheap, but where the law says they are, and they will be dealt with by the courts as the thief is actually dealt with.
One other thing, sorry.
It was a packed Tattersalls Club auditorium which heard Senator Stone touch glancingly on the topic which led to his sacking as finance spokesman in September for speaking out on the sensitive immigration issue at the time. The Senator told the Lunch Today that selling off property to foreigners, the Japanese for instance, is immoral, and we are ratting on our responsibility to our children by just letting debt accumulate for future generations to worry about. Senator Stone attacked the government's dealings with the ACTU, saying the country can afford neither tax cuts nor wage rises. Referring to Treasurer Keating's comment of a week ago that the economy's fine, it's just the champagne effervescing out of the glass, Senator Stone said the government must stop saying there's nothing wrong with the economy. It must not increase taxes, but embark on a program of savage spending cuts.
Clearly, the government's got to take some of the pressure off monetary policy, off interest rates. They can only do that by putting some pressure on other policies. That's budgetary policy, not through more tax increases, but through cutting their own spending and getting the states to cut theirs, forcing the states to cut theirs. And in the labour markets, by getting a lot more efficiency out of the labour markets than we're getting at the moment. The government says it's very hard because they're dealing with the ACTU. In that case, let them get out of the way and hand over to other people who think it less hard.
Well, if the government isn't to get out...
An excellent crowd was on hand for the first day of the Newcastle Autumn Carnival and the running of the Penfolds Classic. Regarded as one of the major lead-up races to the Golden Slipper Stakes, a top-class field of 2-year-olds assembled, with the Tommy Smith-trained Momentaire attracting most interest and being sent out the 11-to-8 on favourite. There was also plenty of money for Boom Colt Sanction, but nobody counted on the Hawkesbury-trained Always Dapper.
And turning for home in the Penfolds, Momentaire as a conspicuous last. Into the stretch they come. Miss Pardo in front of Avenger Bay, 1 out. Coming at them, 3 out of Sanction. 4 deep is Mr. Spats, and they're followed behind them by Pound the Beat. Always Dapper's coming at them out wide with Fancy Liquor and Straussbrook as they run inside the 250. And Always Dapper on the outside has gone to the lead. Sanction is fighting on clear of Pound the Beat. Where's Momentaire? The favourite will run last. Always Dapper kicked away from Sanction at the last 100 metres. It's Always Dapper a length in front of Sanction. Always Dapper in front of Sanction. Curacao jumped out of the ground, but Always Dapper won the slipper.
For battling trainer Kevin Wallace, it's a just reward to 10 hard years.
It is my biggest win, yeah, definitely my biggest win. As I said, we've only had ordinary horses, and I think we've got a good one now, but we have got a very good team this year.
And will Always Dapper start in the Golden Slipper?
He's paid up for in the Slipper, he's in the Size in Melbourne, he's in the Brambles Classic, and he's in the Black Oval. I don't know which way to go. I wanted to see what happened today, and when everything's let down a bit today, and we'll sit down and think about it seriously. At the moment, we're just enjoying the Aurora, put it that way.
Jockey Stephen Jeffries said the horse travelled well throughout.
I had a bit of a checkered passage back at the start of the race, but over the final 300 metres, just things went my way and the brakes come through and the horse showed what ability he's got to go on and win big races.
The second day of the carnival is tomorrow, with the feature race being the Foster's Newmarket. With a look at the race, Gary Harley.
My trifecta is 15 Kintyre Star, number 9 Life at the top, and 3 Wong. And in the second leg of the double, very impressed with Valid Reason's win at Gosford on Thursday. Goes up a bit in weight. John Marshall will ride him. I've tipped him to win the daily double. Number 1 Valid Reason for the second leg, and I hope they go better than Momentaire went, Michael.
The Broadmeadows Showground was buzzing with activity today as ground staff and show exhibitors worked feverishly to make up for the delay caused by yesterday's rain. Although the trucks caused considerable damage before the ground could dry this morning, the rain has done some good. Show Committee President Bob Cannington says the centre ring looks better than was thought possible several months ago.
The state of the ring after we had Torval and Dean in here, it was quite catastrophic really, but it's come on well. We've been very lucky with the weather over the months leading up to it, and I suppose a bit of rain on Monday helped actually.
But of course the big crowd puller will again be Sideshow Alley. There are several new rides this year, as well as all the old familiar faces such as George. He's been thumping up trade at the Temple of Doom for 3 years now. One aspect of the show which always gets a head start is the bread baking competition. More than 500 entries were lined up for judging today at the Birmingham Gardens Bowling Club. Entries this year are down by half, organisers blaming the airline strike which prevented many loaves from arriving and the closeness of several other bread shows. The selection of winners largely rests on this man. Arthur Dennison knows his bread like few others. He's been a professional judge for 43 years. This year he had a firm word for the local bakers, who he says are resting on their laurels.
Well, I'm critical of the application. It's only through lack of knowledge, that's it. And this they will pick up when they see. Now, when you're judging, when you lost points here, how do I rectify that? Which we can tell them.
Well, Tracy, it's an absolutely beautiful day out here at Broadmeadow for the second day of the NJC Autumn Carnival. Yesterday we saw the running of the Penfolds Classic. Today it's the turn of the Foster's Newmarket Handicap worth $100,000. Gary Harley, the NBN Fearless tipster, likes number 15 Kintyre Star to win from number 9 Life of the Top and number 3 Wong. The track is officially rated as good. It's in perfect condition, and we should see some very, very quick times out here today for the running of the 1989 $100,000 Foster's Newmarket.